Hello, YouTube. I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report. I've got Whitney Mixter, Brian Nolan, David Begnaud, and because this is YouTube and we've got to get to it quick, in the immortal words of my hero Optimus Prime, let's roll. All right. So Hillary Clinton, she came out of sorts. People thought she was been down with the homos for a long time, but she made it official. She released a video with the HRC backing same-sex marriage. But don't take my word for it. Let's take a look.
LGBT Americans are our colleagues, our teachers, our soldiers, our friends, our loved ones. And they are full and equal citizens and deserve the rights of citizenship. That includes marriage. That's why I support marriage for lesbian and gay couples. I support it personally and as a matter of policy and law, embedded in a broader effort to advance equality and opportunity for LGBT Americans and all Americans.
Now, I'm not quite sure why Hillary was speaking so slowly, but the message of what she said we can all get down with. I think, Whitney, Hillary is down with gays. What do you think?
I mean, and I'm down with Hillary. You know, I've always been a huge Hillary supporter. I think it's important to support fellow community, if you know what I mean.
You said too much.
I've said too much. No, in all seriousness, I love Hillary. I think she's the hardest working woman in politics, I think. I really do. And, you know, I love what she had to say. I really do. But I feel like later on in the video, she kind of takes this approach like, come on in, the water's fine, about marriage, you know? Like, she's like, yeah, trust me, if you want to get married, be my guest.
So you think perhaps she was leading a little bit of what her marriage might be like?
I know, obviously she supports gay marriage, and I love that she took a stance on it, but you know, I think that I feel like it kind of translated later on where she was like, yeah, it's been really awesome. So if you want to get married too, it's really fun. So please join on board.
Brian, do you think she was a little late to the party on this? It feels like she's been on board the whole time.
But aren't they all late to the party at some point? You know, like, I mean, her husband was the same thing. You know, like, he is now like, oh, I love gay people and gay rights and da-da-da, you know, and we're about to strike down,
that was
hopefully.
An incredible Bill Clinton.
Just like him, right? I mean, everywhere I go, people are like, oh, Bill.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think that they all kind of do that, though, where they all kind of play that card, and then when it's cool, like you said, the water's fine, I'll just dive in and say, yeah, I love gay people are great, you know?
David, does this mean that she is officially running in 2016? Is that the sign?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable, but look, it was the biggest no-duh of the day. I mean, really? It would have been a surprise if she came out and said, I don't like the gays, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it was not a surprise. I think it's interesting that Bill did it before she did. I mean, he is the thunder stealer. He really is. Right. She's inevitable for 2016. I think everybody assumes that. Nothing that she said was a big surprise today. It was like, you know, finally.
Were you guys surprised that the Republicans didn't give a rebuttal on the speech?
They know better.
Yeah.
Right. They know better. There's not a Republican in this country who's going to give a rebuttal to coming out.
I was just kidding, but you took me seriously. I appreciate that.
You know, the thing is, she's been walking behind the leather daddies in New York Pride Parade for years now. Like, it's no surprise that she's finally comes out and makes a stance on it.
Or that picture of her staring at Christina Aguilera's chest. Did you see that picture? It was all over Facebook the day it came out, you know?
Are you guys, David, I'll start with you. Are you amazed at how quickly gay rights have changed? I mean, every stat and figure they show you on gay rights, everything's flipped from 10 years ago. I mean, 58%, I think they said this week, now backs gay marriage. It's incredible how fast it's progressed. Right?
I didn't think it would come so soon in the mainstream. But you know what? Ask Rob Portman. There is nothing like having a child who is gay to change your mind.
Yeah.
And you know what? Look, regardless of how I may feel about gay rights, I'm a bit understanding of even the biggest homo hater. And I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. But all you have to do is put in front of them a gay loved one, and they change like this. It doesn't matter who they are, Rob Portman or a farmer in Florida.
Yeah, so speaking of Rob Portman, so for those who don't know, so Rob Portman, the senator, his son came out, I guess a couple years ago to him, and he just announced he's now the first Republican senator who's on the record backing gay marriage. Do you think there's a chance that because of these numbers that the Republicans will actually have a pro-gay marriage candidate in 2016. That's like the rumor right now.
No.
Is there any chance, or they're still?
That's still, yeah.
But you know what, the movement that is progressing, I think, in the Republican Party is there's so many Republicans, Republicans that I know that like they're so over the social issues ruining that party, with gay marriage and religious issues and everything. And there's people who are actually Republicans in the purest sense, and I think there's going to be more of an uprising of those people who are, I think, pro-gay and pro,
Can we agree, though, that it would be a win even if the Republicans were to come out and say, hey, listen, we don't have a gay candidate, but we're okay with you guys being gay? I mean, even that in a sense might be a win. Look, the study came out today, 58% of Americans are cool with gay marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
First time in history, okay? Right. It's going to happen with the Republicans.
I want to see straight marriage start crumbling, and
It's already crumbling.
It's already crumbling.
there.
It's already crumbling.
We're
All
ready
right.
for
We're
it.
at 60+% divorce rate, among straight couples for years now. So I think that
Let the
that
gays
is-
be as miserable as the straights.
Yes.
That is the
That's-
key. I guess we can end this topic with this. So now, by my numbers, I see the top 5 gay icons. I'm going B. Arthur, Betty White, Rue McClanahan, Estelle Getty, Hillary as number 5.
Done.
Do any of you disagree with that, or would you like to throw anyone else?
I agree with B, definitely.
definitely B.
Definitely B.
All right, well, thank you for being a friend. Let's move on to the second topic, CPAC. Now we're going to really change topics here, because CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Committee, also known as the cantina scene from Star Wars, the circus of odd characters that they bring out there, they were going on. It was going on for a couple days at the Gaylord Hotel, which really, you can't make this stuff up. And instead of bringing guys like Chris Christie, moderates in the party, they doubled down on clowns like Donald Trump and Ann Coulter. Let's listen to a little of Sweet Ann's musings.
Thank you. As some of you know, due to the turmoil in North Korea, our regularly scheduled speaker, Ambassador Dennis Rodman, will not be here. So I'm filling in. I'm Ann Coulter, the author of 9 massive New York Times bestsellers. Boy, the sequester has really ruined everything, hasn't it? The little kids can't go on White House tours. Muslim Brotherhood has been deprived of $250 million. Oh no, that's safe. Sorry, that's fine. Even CPAC had to cut back on its speakers this year by about 300 pounds.
Ann Coulter should teach stand-up comedy. Is not she wickedly brilliant? Lordy, lordy. Okay, so to start here, why is it that the Republicans' pundits are actually more ridiculous than their candidates, who often are quite ridiculous? Brian, I pose that to you to start.
I think the way I look at Ann Coulter, because it's like, I think she's kind of like that racist relative that everybody has that always makes racist and offensive comments, but everyone's like, oh, that's my uncle so-and-so, And I think she kind of represents that for that party, like, oh, she can say those crazy things and we'll all laugh and it's okay because she's her.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it appeals.
So it gives them a little familiarity to stick with.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it'd be one thing if she was very pro certain things, but the things she says are so mean. I mean, like, you have to have a sense of humor about yourself, and I think we all need to lighten up in many contexts. But she's saying offensive things about people who she is adamantly against, and that's the problem.
Whitney, do you dig Ann Coulter?
I mean, what the funny thing is? Like, now you look at CPAC and, they have Metallica as entering songs. They have hype men, essentially. I feel like CPAC has become like the WWE of like political realm. Like, it's really ridiculous. I mean, Ann Coulter, no, she's like this praying mantis of politicians, or in the political world. She's like beautiful and sexy in like a kind of like you want to hit her kind of way, and like I just picture her ripping the heads off of men that she sleeps with after.
Well, she does look like the alien from Independence Day,
That's
doesn't she?
true.
Very long, and like she's going to read your mind
Yes.
and then crush you.
Yes.
David, what does this say about the state of the party, that their pundits are more over the top? They're bringing in Trump, and yet Chris Christie doesn't get invited. What does that say?
Look, here's the thing. I think, the round of applause that she got in front of the conservatives was kind of wimpy and weak. I think if you're a Democrat, you want Ann Coulter exactly where she is, because Ann Coulter talks to a base but it's not a very big base. And so I think, as much as she offends, I met her at church one time in West Hollywood, where the gays hang out.
Why do the gays love her? Sidebar. Why do the gays? What is the gay obsession?
Because, as you said, there's something slightly sexy and sultry, and kind of like I'd be down to have a beer with you or a cocktail about Ann Coulter. Regardless of the hate she may spew, there's something affable about her.
This is very bizarre.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but at the end of the day, though, like I could never, at the end of the day, she's against who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Screw you.
Well,
I have nothing to do with that. I don't understand. I know there is a lot of gay men who are like, oh my God, she's fabulous. And fuck you. Like, seriously. Sorry. I mean,
No, you can say that.
I think it's so stupid. I think, how could you be friends or be someone who makes fun of you and says really offensive things about you all the time?
She's anti-woman, anti-gay,
Right.
anti-really everything that matters in my life. So,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, no,
But you're saying you understand it at some level.
I don't
you
think
get
there's a whole
this
lot of
affection.
reason or rationale. You can't sit down with her and have an emotional discussion,
Right.
because
Right.
she'll rip you to shreds with insults and all that. So when you take her for what she is, and when you realize she is part of an extreme fringe that each year seems to be kind of squeezed more and more. I mean, every time I turn around, it's like her and Sean Hannity yelling in some corner somewhere. But people are listening. And, as a new poll comes out on more Americans supporting gay marriage, and as Democrats continue to win elections, I mean, it will change. It's eventual. But in the meantime, I kind of like her. She makes me laugh.
Right, and that's her
She's so
thing.
ridiculous
Right, she's
at
so
times.
outrageous,
It
right.
kind of makes me laugh.
And
it's
that's
fun
like
to
her
watch.
thing.
Well, ironically,
It's
she
like,
may
of course
be the best comedian that Republicans have, which is really.
She should be your idol.
She should be my sidekick.
Thank
I
you.
think.
I
is
would
what
love it.
she
You should
be.
have her here next week.
Ann Coulter,
And you're invited.
you have
She
an
goes
open.
to church in West Hollywood.
That's insane.
All you got to do is St. Victor's Church in West Hollywood. She sits in the second to last pew in the back of the church.
Ann Coulter, if you find a funny Jew hunting you down at church, that will be me, and I'd love to have you on the show. All right, let's move on. We've gone from Democrats to Republicans, and now let's talk about the devil, who apparently is our president, Barack Obama. If you're not watching, or if you haven't heard of the Bible, it's this very long, very preachy book, and they've now put it into a mini-series on the History Channel, and people are freaking because they think the guy playing the devil looks like the president. Let's look at the picture and see, and we can discuss. All right, so there it is. I don't know which is which. Is that the president on the left or the right? The devil? This is a lot to think about. David, what do you got?
I'm sorry, you can't tell me that doesn't look like Barack Obama. There is some makeup artist who was doing that who was like, oh, this time we're going to make you, yeah, here we go. He's played the devil before. It's not his first time. I don't think they did this intentionally, but I'm sorry, it's all people were talking about today. Barack Obama is the devil.
Now, his skin tone actually doesn't look like that. I mean, they did change his skin tone, and there's some facial structure there. So, all right, one conspiracy theorist.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Like, yes, he's played the devil before, but you actually made a concerted effort to make this man look like Barack Obama. Like, he actually doesn't look like that in real life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, absolutely, I would go ahead and say that.
Right?
That guy looks like Barack Obama and the Emperor from Star Wars had a baby.
Right,
Exactly.
Darth Maul or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, is that his name? Darth Maul?
Yeah. So, okay, now we have two conspiracy theorists, Brian. They believe that the History Channel is in on this. What do you think?
Well, let me tell you. I think I actually had some hippie friends of mine. I'm a man of the people, and I know, hippies.
Very
And,
Jesus-like.
and they said the same thing to me like a couple of years ago. How the Bible says that a dark figure will take over the world or something like that. And he was like, oh, there's a conspiracy that President Obama is Satan. And I was like, that's ridiculous.
No. Absolutely.
So I don't know if it's these people who are thinking that.
I must say,
Yes.
being that, they say a dark figure will take over, and Mark Burnett is the producer, and he's married to Roma Downey. I have to say I did a little something. I would have gone much more like this.
Ooh,
For my dark image taking over. I would have done something like that. I think that would have been a much better,
This is
thing.
a Rubin report first, ladies and
This is-
gentlemen. Visual
I
aids.
really needed to do this visually. I just saw it. As soon as I saw that, I was like, but why? Why not go Della Reese, you know? Why not cast Della Reese? It would have saved a lot of,
Absolutely. Well, it comes as no surprise probably to any of you that the History Channel is claiming that no, this was not intentional. They released a statement, which I think is kind of priceless. History Channel has the highest respect for President Obama. The series was produced with an international and diverse cast of respected actors. It's unfortunate that anyone made this false connection. History's the Bible is meant to enlighten people on its rich stories and deep history. Well, I guess you
I
can't.
believe him.
Because the-
it was just a statement. It must be true. Okay.
Why would a PR department?
Right,
But do you
why?
think that it's possible? Maybe. I can see it.
Look,
in your
here's
eyes.
the thing.
Do you think it's possible they did this intentionally for this?
I'm convinced there was a conversation that went on before this episode aired where they were like,
They must
y'all
have
know
noticed it.
people are
I
going
mean-
to say this at the end. I don't think they're surprised. I think they were ready for it. But what was funny was that Glenn Beck's the one who tweeted after the show aired, boy, this bears a strike. So you got conservative. They're the one that first squawked it out.
Yeah.
And then Beck today tweeted, oh, guys, give it a rest, media, lay off. It's funny, coincidental, but haha, not. And then Burnett retweeted Beck's tweet.
Well, one thing that I think is interesting about this is that if you guys remember in the beginning of season 2 of Game of Thrones, one of the heads that they used on a
was
spear
That's right.
was George W. Bush's head, and everyone thought it was hilarious, but now it's Obama. People don't think it's as funny. Is there a double standard depending on who your guy is?
Absolutely.
But you're making him
Absolutely.
Satan. Like, yeah, George Bush's head was on a stake, but come on, I mean.
His decapitated head was on a
But
stick.
you're saying,
Absolutely.
yeah.
If this were George Bush as the devil, everybody would be like, they would.
Well, his head
There is
was
a
on a stick
complete
and they
double
were-
standard.
yeah.
Especially, I think that's why I get so much media play. Because I think in a lot of the media, Obama is sort of a savior.
Yeah.
And so bashing him, it's like, oh, you did what?
Now, Brian, you're a TV and film guy. What do you think about the process that goes involved in all of this? Like, did they just happen to have a Bush head, and then we got one in storage, or is it a real calculated decision?
Things like that happen. Like I've discovered, like working in like the production aspect of everything, that sometimes things get missed and people do things. I think with the Bush head thing, I think it was like a prop guy or something that said, I'm going to do this and be really funny, and didn't really make an announcement about it.
Right.
If I remember correctly, I'm not sure though if that's right. I think with something like this, they had to have seen it, like going in that it looks like him. Somebody realized it.
Yeah.
But what's always so weird about these situations is that everyone talks and things are always leaked nowadays, and I'm surprised. Everyone on the staff is keeping it a secret, because a bunch of people must have known about this.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to
That's
know
what's so
how
weird
the
about
Bible
it.
is going to end. How have they kept that cliffhanger a secret this long? I don't know. All right, let's get away from politics for a little bit. Let's talk about news. And there's been some interesting studies released recently that people are not watching the local news anymore. I don't know how they're going to find out that cat 3 blocks away from them got electrocuted, or that the neighbor fell off the roof, or all that kind of stuff. But basically, people are tuning out. 31% of respondents in this Pew survey said they've stopped watching local news altogether. And basically, people are only tuning in now for weather, sports, and traffic. Now, David, I want to start with you here because you're a news guy. Do you think this is just a sign of the times? Is this just everyone going to the internet for this stuff? Or is it that in local news, it's just absurd? You just see, the neighbor that got hit by the car. There's just such a nonstop negative situation attached to local news that people can't take.
Well, first of all, let's hit nonstop. I've been doing local news for the last 10 years, and what I hate the most is when people go, I don't watch the news because it's so negative. No, bullshit. Can we say bullshit?
You can say bullshit.
No, bullshit, because you love the negative, you love the gossip, and you love the blood and gore. So that's sort of a pet peeve of mine. It is true that the numbers are shrinking, but it is because we all walked in here with a phone. And we all have a Twitter account, and that's what we're all checking. It's why I left local news after 10 years to go and do something that was on a digital platform. But I will tell you this, when it rains, people watch the news. When they are stuck in traffic, that's when, local news will never go away. Is it dwindling? Sure. But it doesn't matter if you're in Bangor, Maine, or Los Angeles, you're gonna watch your local news.
Yeah. So weather, traffic, sports. Brian, are you gonna miss the absurd stories, like just the craziness?
The news bloopers.
Yeah, exactly.
Where people say something outrageous and everyone posts it on YouTube. No, I love the local news. I always turn it on the early morning before like the Good Morning Americas and the Today shows all come on. I always turn it on, except with LA, it's always like a little like, oh, and we'll talk about Lindsay Lohan's latest court appearance. You're like, this is on the local news, but yeah, I do like the local news.
Next, Iran has the bomb, but that's like,
right. But no, I do definitely like the local news. I don't know if it's just a generational thing, but it feels very safe and it feels very, you feel very in touch with your community, right?
It feels very local.
Yeah. Whitney, where do you get your news?
I mean, well, the thing is, you were saying generational, and what I think has happened is I think that in this generational shift, we've become more obsessed with pop culture and what's happening, like you said, with Lindsay Lohan, as opposed to, you know, what's happening on the local government level or anything like that. You know, we are obsessed with these stories. So, you know, Us Weekly is selling out, and people aren't tuning in unless it affects their beach commute.
Well, actually, what you're talking about is something that we've talked about on every episode of this show. This idea that pop culture has sort of infected everything else we do to the point that it's all our news is wrapped up in pop culture. Everyone wants to stop this, but how do we do it? What do we actually do besides talking about it?
You're not gonna stop it. You know why? Because people keep tuning into it. We make fun of Lindsay Lohan, but I promise you, when you go back and look at those numbers today, when she was in, they're going to be off the charts for Lohan.
Yeah.
We relate to celebrities. We relate to their drama. We relate to them being late. We relate to them recklessly driving and lying to police. We relate to that. Okay, I haven't lied to police, but you get the point.
Well, it's like nothing like a Lohan.
You've said too much.
Well, yeah. All right.
Something like a Lohan court appearance make you feel better about your own problems.
But we don't
I mean,
relate to the government
seriously,
stories. They're hard to tell. As a journalist, it's hard to make you care why a community in Southern California is 600,000 in the red and why their city manager got arrested. You guys already look bored.
Right.
People don't care about those kinds of stories.
But when somebody throws a glitter bomb at Lindsay Lohan walking into
It's
court,
the headline.
and then she snorts it because she thinks it's the new designer cocaine, that is a story.
Yeah, I mean,
That
who
was
hasn't
news.
done that? Yeah.
All right, I guess it's all about relating. Okay,
And glitter.
let's move on. Something we can all relate to is the endless supply of healthy foods that are being thrown our way, and Whole Foods is now taking it to a whole new level. They are going to be building a Whole Foods spa in Austin, Texas. You're gonna be able to go there for days and get all your fancy food and your quinoa and your, give me a fancy food, somebody, your healthy, fancy asparagus. Good, that was a good one. Yeah, and you're gonna get massages and detox and the whole thing. So what I want to bring to you guys is how important is the food culture to you? Because I know, for me, it's like if I go to Trader Joe's, I feel like I've somehow bettered myself than going to the regular store. But how important is just the food and the process of getting food and all that to you?
I mean, it's incredibly important. You know, I too feel healthier and better when I go to Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. You know, I feel like I'm making a difference for my body and self. However, I must say, I don't know if I'd want to attend a spa that is Whole Foods ran. Like, I've heard of like farm to table eating, but this seems like a farm to toilet eating. Like, I should just have a direct tube going in my mouth and out my ass. And it's like, no, I'd kind of like to keep my massages and like my, you know, asparagus separate. I don't know. And also what I don't understand is this concept that, you know, they've been doing these classes and things like that and seminars, and they've actually been failing miserably. So I don't understand how they've actually said, we are going to take this failing model and we are going to charge a lot of money for it. I know it's been free so far, but we're actually going to charge.
And first of all, I can't even get through the damn parking lot in Los Angeles because
Oh,
they're
the
so
Whole
busy.
Foods parking
How the
lot?
hell are
Oh
you
my
going to get
God,
through a
right.
resort in Austin, Texas? That's going to be another nightmare.
Yes.
I mean, look, you know, sometimes I go to Whole Foods to eat and sometimes I go to look. It's like some of the creatures walking around in there are as foreign as the food on the, you know,
They have a great salad.
I think
love it. It's great.
I think it's cool, but I mean, it's like, I don't know. Would you guys? I don't know that I would go.
I think it's cool. Like, I mean, I hear actually they have a class where they stick a tube in your mouth and your ass. It's great. It's a cleansing. No, I think it's awesome. I think I would love to go to. I love that kind of stuff though. So I mean, that's me personally. And I know I think in LA, I think a lot of health-oriented people would do that. But I think they want to gear it towards more obese people. I'm assuming.
Well, so that's the thing. So when I was reading the article, I kept thinking, are they gearing this to help the obese people slim down? But I feel like the obese people, they know what they're doing to themselves. You know what I mean? Everyone knows what you're putting in your body. So I think this is just going to be the ultra healthy just getting ultra healthier.
I agree.
Although is it just me, or do the ultra healthy never look that good? When you go to like the vegan section of the supermarket, they always look like they need a piece of meat. Don't they look green a little?
You want to feed them.
You want to feed these
people. You want
people.
to feed them. I agree.
Everyone needs a steak now.
I agree. The skinny people are the ones that need a burger.
Yeah.
You
All right,
know?
well, we'll end this one on this question. If I was going on a vacation, personally, I want to go to a beach. I want to get wasted, maybe smoke a little bit of what we're going to talk about in the next story. You know, I don't need to be getting healthier. I don't need to be getting healthier on my vacations. Does this idea, so I know this idea doesn't appeal to the healthier on a vacation idea.
No, it totally appeals to me. I actually like, you know, going on I like to call it, there's a difference. There's vacations and then there's retreats. Like, if I'm going on a retreat, I like to come back feeling better about myself. Vacation, I like to just wallow in my own regret. you know. But really, no, I think I'd be interested in checking it out, you know. It can't hurt, and I think I'll come back with a cleaner colon.
Right. You feel clear.
Yeah.
Brian, healthy
This house
vacation
is
or
clear.
Healthy vacation or bust, man. I'm all about it. I mean, literally, I like to usually go get wasted on the beach or whatever like that. But, you know.
David, healthy vacation or wasted madness?
Healthy, but I'd want to drink and eat and, you know, be sloppy while I was there.
Wait.
Fair enough. All right, guys, I want to remind you, by the way, my shirts, my pants, my shoes, my underwear, the whole thing is brought to you by bonobos.com. You guys can enter code TRR20 and get 20% off your first purchase of Bonobos. And that brings us to our final topic this week, which I completely forgot because it's weed. It's about weed, people. Weed, ganja, dope. Wow, that was wild. They say it affects your short-term memory. It is quite possible, and I think we just saw evidence of it. So I love this. Another Republican. We're going to combine Republicans and weed into one thing. Another one, an anti-weed guy, and guess what he did? He's smoking weed. Steve Katz up in New York. And so there's a couple different ways we can go here, but let's start with this. Is any politician not a hypocrite? Before we get to the hardcore weed stuff, is anyone that's telling you not to do anything in your private life not a hypocrite in their own life? Brian first.
Yes.
Yes, there is one guy?
No, there's not at all. Of course not.
Yeah.
I mean, no, of course not. I mean, when I read this story, I was like, of course this happened. You know, it's not any kind of shocker. You know, I mean, it's like one of those things where I remember my parents telling me one time that they smoked weed with the neighbor when I was growing up, and I was like, really? You know, my parents? But then again, it's probably not that shocking when you really think about it. You know.
Yeah.
Everyone smoked weed at some point in their life.
Well, I'm sure your parents will be happy that this is now out
Everyone
there on
knows.
the internet.
Everyone knows. Oh gosh.
Mr. and Mrs. Nolan out in, I believe they're in California. All right.
Florida.
Florida, good. All right. Weed, where do you fall on the weed thing? Because everybody, look, to me, it's going to help the economy. You can start taxing it. Let's just talk about the broader weed topic. Where do you fall?
Look, working in local news, I've been convinced by some people who I respect that it's still an issue, and it's an issue they think that requires it to continue being outlawed. So, you know, I don't use it.
For what reasons, for example?
You know, look, the Sacramento County Sheriff, who I have a whole lot of respect for here in California, will tell you 10 different reasons why he has seen, from arrest to parents, what it does to households, what it does to children. He doesn't think it's a good idea.
But drinking is the same thing, essentially.
Yeah,
if not
look, I
10
mean,
times worse.
I'm not saying I'm right, but it's something I don't use, and it's something I don't, you know, I mean, we'll see what happens. Is it inevitable? Maybe. What I love about these types of stories is it makes politicians like this guy seem human. Because they go out there and they're like, you know, we're better, and in a way I'm better than you, and then he's running off to smoke dope.
Well, and the funny thing about with this guy was the bill that he helped veto was to legalize medicinal marijuana,
Right.
not even recreational.
Right.
Like, he was smoking weed to get high, to have fun.
Exactly.
And he didn't want people to help themselves medically. Now, I want to ask the dreadlocked member of the panel what she thinks.
High right now. No.
Marijuana.
That
What do you
explains
think?
it.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
smoked weed in a parking lot before.
Totally. No, you know, I understand what you're saying, you know, but at the same time, I think, there's bigger fish to fry in politics and in the world. And, you know, I definitely think that, as you were saying about alcohol is definitely more damaging, not only to the human body, but also to, you know, just families. Yeah, exactly. I've never really had someone, you know, OD on weed or get, you know, have their
Nobody
liver
smokes
stopped.
weed and breaks into a bank.
You know,
right.
and I think, or yeah, you've never seen somebody just completely lose their shit because they smoked a bowl, you know, and it's just like, I do think that, you know, it does humanize these politicians because, you know, people take these stances and they're so strict on it, but it's like, you know, yeah, you're obviously, you have hypocritical things. It's just, don't be so staunch is basically what I'm saying. Like, don't be so damn staunch if you know you're doing it yourself. Like, if you're gonna be strict on something, just choose something that you know you're not gonna go home and light up when you get back.
And isn't this another one of these bizarre cases where the Republicans, who like to say that they're all for freedom and individual liberty and you can do what you want in your house and it should have nothing to do with the government, but they want to get all up in women's wombs and they want to regulate how much weed you smoke or let that you smoke it at all, et cetera, et cetera. So it seems like a bit of a, it's not even. Something ain't jiving with me about that. Thank you, Brian. Hypocritical.
Yeah, well, I mean, they they do still want to regulate, absolutely. As much as they want a removed sense of government, they absolutely want to regulate what I think that they associate marijuana with a liberal mindset. I think that that's what they want to kind of regulate over.
What's next? They're gonna try to get in my anus, the
mean,
wombs,
yes.
no.
Yeah, aren't we all?
Wow.
Aren't we all?
Well, on that note, my glaucoma's been acting up, so I think I'm going to take the panelists out to the parking lot, and we'll see what's what. I thank you guys for watching, and this has been the Rubin Report, and we'll see you next week.